Well, hello, family. How is everybody doing? Hello to all my grandbabies and great grandbabies. Um, I'm so excited to bring you another story by Nana Castle. So, Nana has been finding some really fun little books, and this book today is going to be a good one. This one is Squirrels Secret. Can you see that? Squirrels Secret. Well, let me tell you, this book is about listening. Yes, it is. It's about listening, and you know how we really sometimes, when people talk to us, we don't really pay attention and we don't get all of the story, or we don't repeat the story correctly. So that's what this little book about. It's called Squirrels Secret. It is by Susie Lynn is the author. It's illustrated by Erica Meza, and it was published by Little Hippo Books out of New York. So, are we ready? Are we ready? Yes. Squirrels Secret. Squirrel was excited. She hopped and she skipped and twitched her bushy tail with excitement. She had a secret, and she had to share it with someone. The very first someone she saw was Rabbit. Look at that. There she is. See, Squirrel, and she sees Rabbit. Rabbit was busy looking for the greenest, tastiest patches of grass. So she took a quick look at Squirrel and carried on with her search. Squirrel lowered her voice and whispered, "Don't tell anyone, but I'm having a big party with yummy food and funny hats." "Oh, really?" mumbled Rabbit, who was far more interested in her delicious grass. She wasn't listening properly to Squirrel at all. Not at all. So, what happens next? So, Rabbit spotted her friend, Mole. There's Mole. There's her friend, Mole, who was busy digging. So she had some rather strange news. In hushed tones, Rabbit whispered in Mole's velvety ear. I didn't know moles had a velvety ear. "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's having a party, and she's inviting lots of stray cats." Stray cats? Nope, that's not quite what she said, is it? I see, muttered Mole as he inspected his newly dug hole. He wasn't paying much attention to Rabbit. Well, later on, Mole is digging and he comes up, and Mole spied his friend Fox basking in the sun and decided to tell him the news. He scampered over. Look at his. He scampered over and said, "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's having a picnic, and she's making pies for all the rats." Okay. We went now from having a party to having a picnic. Whatever, snored Fox lazily. He was far more interested in catching the last rays of sunshine, had only half heard Moe's news. You see? He's just not really interested. He's just trying to get all his snoozing in. As day turned to dusk, you know what dusk is? That's just right as the sun is going down. And it's not quite down all the way yet, but it's almost. Fox saw his friend Owl. Ooh, owls, I love owls. Perching in an oak tree, waiting for the moon to appear. I may as well tell him the news, thought Fox. I guess I'll just tell the owl, who was more awake by now. So he walked over to Owl and quietly called up to him. Don't tell anyone. But Squirrel's having a picnic, and she's going to wear her fancy pants. Her fancy pants. I don't remember Squirrel saying that, but okay. Well, there's a thing, hooted Owl, paying more attention to the moon than to what Fox was saying. See, we've got a pattern going on. Nobody's listening. Later, as dawn was breaking, we know what dawn is. Dawn is when the sun is rising. And just as it's coming up and it starts bringing light to the land, that's dawn. Later, as dawn was breaking, Owl spotted his friend Deer. Oh, he was busy picking his way gracefully through the undergrowth, looking for tasty berries. Come here, Deer, called Owl softly, and as Deer half turned to him, he lowered his voice and said, there's the owl talking to Deer. Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel has a pink stick to tap with when she learns to dance. Okay, now this story is getting crazier as we go along. Deer stopped for a second and looked up in surprise. Then he turned back to a particularly juicy crop of blackberries. He hadn't quite caught everything that Owl had said, and that's Papa walking by the video. That afternoon, Deer bumped into his friend, Mouse. Deer is friends with a mouse, who was scurrying around the leaves. He was very busy eating the berries that Deer had dropped. Owl told me the strangest thing, Deer murmured. Oh dear, there's the deer talking to the mouse. Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's wearing lipstick. Oh dear. And she's gone to eat with all her aunts. Mouse was very hungry indeed, and he certainly wasn't in the mood for paying much attention to woodland chit-chat. But when Mouse heard his friend Woodpecker rat-a-tat-tatting on an old oak tree, he thought he had better pass on the news. If you can spare a minute, he shouted to make himself heard above Woodpecker's noise. Woodpecker looked down, and Mouse continued at the top of his little voice. Oh, there's the woodpecker. Oh, and they put holes in other things besides a tree, just so you know. Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's buying a boat ticket to sail the sea to sunny France. Okay, now the story has just completely changed, right? From having a party with funny hats to sailing a boat to sunny France. But Woodpecker hadn't entirely stopped rat-a-tatting, so the message he thought he heard was quite different. What? Really? Squirrels won a prize, a lucky chance, asked Woodpecker loudly. Squirrel had been busy minding her own business, but when she heard Woodpecker's news, she jumped up. There she is. Look, she's jumping up. She jumped up. Stop! Listen! You've got it wrong, she called in frustration. At that, all the creatures stopped what they were doing and looked up. Look at that. And there's Squirrel. She's yelling. It's not true, cried Squirrel. What? You haven't won a lucky chance? Asked Woodpecker. No, I'm afraid not, replied Squirrel. But you are sailing to sunny France, aren't you? Inquired Mouse. No, not ever, Squirrel declared. What about wearing lipstick and going to eat with your aunts? Tried Deer. Absolutely not, cried Squirrel. So, no dancing with a pink stick then? Hesitated Owl. No, goodness no, sighed Squirrel impatiently. Do you have any fancy pants? Asked Fox nervously. No, Squirrel spluttered. And baking pies for rats isn't your thing? Muttered Mole. Not in a million years, wailed Squirrel. And you're not having a party with stray cats? Whispered Rabbit. No, 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 Squirrel groaned. But what is happening is that I'm having a big party with yummy food and funny hats, and you're all invited. Oh, yeah, that's what's going on. The very next day, everyone gathered in the woodland clearing for Squirrel's big party, and they all wore funny hats and had the best time ever. Look at that. The end. And what did we learn from this story? Maybe we need to pay attention when people are talking so that we get it right, right? I love you, my dears. I hope everyone has a great evening. I love you and take care. Bye-bye for now.